Well, we are joined now by Notre Dame's all-time winningest men's basketball coach, the Glenn and Stacey Murphy head coach, Mike Brey. Coach, welcome to the show.
Man, how good was that last performance?
Incredible.
Can you, on my behalf, invite her to sing the national anthem at our home opener next year?
Wow.
Could you do that for me?
Absolutely, Coach. I will make that happen.
They were great. And then I was on for about 15 minutes waiting to bat. And do we have some amazing young people around the world? We really do. By the way, we have a doctor. That doctor was in Ecuador, I believe, right?
Yes.
And then we had someone in Paris. Could you also get a message to them if they see any 7-foot 16-year-olds walking around to email me directly? But no, very, very good to be with you. I tip my cap to what you're doing. It sounds like we're having a good day as far as raising funds in the midst of all this, and it's a pleasure to be with you this afternoon.
Absolutely. Now, Coach, if I remember correctly, you had just won your first ACC tournament game when you received word that the tournament was being canceled, and of course then that your season was over. So I got to ask you, what was that moment like for you, for your team, and especially, of course, for your seniors?
You know, it was a very interesting day. We were on the bus to the shoot-around around noon. The day we played Virginia. We beat Boston College on a Wednesday. We were supposed to play Virginia that evening. We were 5 minutes from the gym to go in and stretch and shoot and go through our walkthrough. And my assistant athletic director said they just pulled Clemson and Florida State off the court. So I yelled up to the bus driver, take us back to the hotel. And I got back and spoke to the team. And it was really tough because I was basically telling them the season was over. And I'll never forget the body language of Rex Pfluger, Johnny Mooney, and TJ Gibbs, our three seniors, really shrugged because it was over. And I tried to, it was almost like the banquet speech in the back of the bus on the way back to the hotel. And so, I can't say all of our guys, it came out of complete left field because certainly there were a lot of things happening that night before and throughout the day. But the reality of it ending, and we were not going to be able to have a chance to play and earn an NCAA tournament spot, which would have been difficult for us, but we would have at least been an NIT team, which was also canceled the following week. We kind of were all in shock a little bit, but I've never given a speech on the back of the bus like that. That was new territory.
Absolutely. You mentioned your three seniors. Obviously, they've played a lot of minutes for you over the years. What are you going to miss about that group?
What I love about coaching at Notre Dame is we always have young men going through the program and being four-year guys. And we've had a really neat track record of seniors having great years. And the three seniors this year for us really had very good years. And you remember when you recruit them and you remember when they're freshmen and they have a hard time looking you in the eye and maybe communicating with you. Two, as seniors, the men that they become, and I think very prepared to get on in life. Johnny Mooney just had an unbelievable year for us, and we'll have a chance to be an NBA player. This virus has kind of jammed all of that up, but just a great ambassador for our program. TJ Gibbs, another four-year man for us who had a very good senior year, will graduate, get his degree. And then Rex Pfluger I had over the house on Monday for Mother's Day. Rex, as we know his story, lost his mother to cancer. This was the first Mother's Day that he had without her, so he was over the house with me, and he's going to be a double domer. He's getting his MBA. I'm so proud of him and how he handled everything, especially this last year, coming back from a knee injury. And I've used him as an example with our younger players. He's a great example of a young man who got everything out of his Notre Dame experience. He made sure he met people in the Notre Dame network. As I mentioned, he got 2 degrees. He was a heck of a player. He really took advantage of the Notre Dame experience. And all three of them want to play professionally at some level. That's all kind of on hold right now through this stuff. But, when they do take the ball from them and ask them what else they can do, they have their Notre Dame degree, and that's pretty darn powerful.
Absolutely, Coach. Well said. Now, next year's team, obviously, they've been home for a couple of months now. So how are you and your staff staying engaged with them? And, of course, for you, how has life changed for you as a head coach?
Well, I have become a Zoom ninja in the last 2 months. I knew nothing about Zoom, but it's the way we communicate as a coaching staff. I just had my team on once a week. I Zoom with my current players. And you know what? They need it. They're struggling. Let's be honest. I mean, everybody is, but they missed 2 months of spring workouts and certainly finishing up academically on campus and weightlifting and us working with them and talking about next season. And I'm pretty sure they're going to miss the whole summer as well. And so I'm trying to keep them upbeat and engaged and talk about the fall and talk about our schedule and all of those things. We're recruiting by way of Zoom. Last month, we could not go on the road to recruit given the virus. We were not allowed out on the road. And it was so interesting. We've got we signed 2 players by way of Zoom visiting and Zoom interaction. Tony Sanders, a senior from Gulliver Prep in Miami, and Trey Wirtz, transfer from Santa Clara University, who I had to watch on tape. I really couldn't meet them face to face. They could not come to our campus. Yet we were fortunate enough to add them to our roster along with the 9 returning guys coming back. So we're all adjusted. Interesting times. I miss my guys. I'm looking at them last night. They're all up there on the screen. I miss interacting with them. It keeps me going. It keeps our staff going. It certainly has kept me young, being around young people.
Coach, lastly from me, and real quickly, I wanted to ask you, there's been a lot of changes going around in the college basketball world. Of course, the NCAA recently recommended that for the first time, they want to allow athletes to profit off of name, image, and likeness. There's so much going on with the transfer portal. There may even be rule changes to the NBA draft. I'm curious just where you think the future of college basketball is headed.
Well, this has really thrown us for a loop, the virus situation. Name, image, and likeness, I think it's great that a young man could benefit. But what are you really going to – in this economy slap in the face that we're going through, I'm not sure what a young man is going to be able to get unless he is a phenomenal talent and off-the-charts talent. So that all still has to be shaped. Down the road, I think it's great that they are going to be able to benefit from some of that. You talk about the transfer situation. I mean, it's almost a rite of spring now, a rite of passage. We picked one off here late in Trey Wirtz. Juwan Durham is a transfer who is in the midst of a very good career for us. So it's another pool of players to pick from. I go back. I live by this theme. There was a coach at Duke by the name of Vic Bubas in the 60s, and he used to say, you got to get them. You got to keep them. You got to coach them. And so I think it's on me to retain my group. Overall, we've not lost a lot of guys by way of the transfer, and I'm proud of that. Yeah. I think it's up to the coach, and you can't have a rule for everything to stop guys from transferring. Of course, I just don't see it changing. I see it being even more aggressive. I look at it as an advantage because it's another pool of players for us to recruit out of.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us. Always good talking with you. And, of course, basketball season will be here before we know it.
Be here before you know it. You stay safe, and thanks for all you're doing. Go Irish.
Go Irish, Coach. Thanks a lot.